Good evening! I'm back. I was working on this in between just before dinner, but I decided not to stream it because I wasn't going to be on very long. By the way, if you want to chat with me during non-streaming times, you can hit me up on Twitter, which is now X, at BruceRF1. That's a me. Mostly just talk about writing, game design, music, movies, mostly my books. Alright, let me go ahead and refresh the stream. Yay! And I'll go to here. Okay, and the streaming is happening. I'm having some focusing issues on this eye. It's kind of annoying. It's my good eye. Alright, so here's where I left off. You can see I left myself a note. Going to eat, so here's what I was thinking. Call update action queue and then return out inside of action queue and or other functions, set the index, maybe yada yada yada. So I'm creating a basically a spectator player to hang out and observe the world while it is in between turns. So it's nobody's turn at this point. It's the spectator just kind of hanging out until everything's done. And then once everything's done, it should go back to whatever player is next in the loop. So I was going to hand this off to a function. So the way that I'm checking, like, I don't really know how this is going to work yet, but a buddy of mine was like, hey, maybe we should have the actions of all of the ships and stuff happen on a turn-based system as well. So let's do paint. So for example, put some orbits. Gotta have some orbits. And then, like the sun is here. We got a planet. Whatever. Right? Then we got a ship. So what he was suggesting was if when you hit the go button and the ship spawns, right? However far away the ship is to wherever, have the system calculate roughly the amount of days or turns it would take. So turn 1, maybe the ship is here, and then all the turns are executed, and then it updates, and now the ship is here, and then all the turns happen again, and then it's here, right? But that's happening for everybody. So like, this is not Photoshop, I guess, so this would be kind of annoying, but just imagine that each one of these has its own ship coming out, and then, turn 3, finally the ships get there and do something. But that would mean that you know, this guy's got to ship out. I don't know how new paint works. And then this guy's got a ship, you know, going somewhere. And then this guy over here's got a ship, you know, going somewhere. Right? And then on the next turn, those get closer to the targets. Maybe. I might end up doing that. But if I do it that way, then I would have the... If I did it that way, I would have to halt the cycle of the solar system. Because if this planet is moving on a live update, spawn the ship here, right? And then if this is frozen until the end of the next turn, right? This planet might be, you know, over here by the time this ship decides to update its position. You know what I mean? So if I did it like that, where the orbits were in real time, but the actions of the ships were turn-based, they would be out of sync. So I don't think that would work. I would have to do the orbits and everything also in turn-based. So after all turns are executed, maybe the planet moves up a little bit, you know, and then, you know, everybody takes their turn, and everything moves forward a little bit more, and then everything moves forward a little bit more. So I don't know for sure how I want to handle that. So, but this is where I'm at here. So I'm going to set the turn index, and I need to possess the player. So the player I'm going to use for this will be the player game mode. Then we'll get to update action queue, and we want to return out. That way none of this executes down here. But how do I get back is the question. So what I'm going to do at the moment is wait till all of the attacking ships are no longer in orbit. So if I do it that way, I could check all the players for ships, but it would just be easier to create a list of ships that the game mode can check. And the way I can have that happen is as a ship is destroyed or docks, it removes itself from the list and has a list update. I think that's how I'll do it. Feels like a Band-Aid patch, you know, but So on this, I need a ship list. So game mode, do I have a ship list? Player list, sub list, asteroid list. I don't technically. I technically don't need to have an actual list of the ships here. I could just get a count. Anywhere. They're not really orbiting, so that's. But there we go. Number of attacking ships in space. So whenever these things spawn, let's go to where is the ship.cpp? There it is. And this is, that's move ship. Where is spawn? Actually, I think spawn ship is on the planet. Construct ship. Spawn ship. I'll just do that here. And then whenever a ship is removed from play, it needs to take this number off. So I'll go ship. It's trade routes. I'll come to that later. Okay. So I might be better off making a separate function just for destroying the ships, because they have to be handled a little bit differently. And I'm noticing I'm repeating some code here. Right? Overlap planet, getting the ship list, updating the count, updating its count, destroying the object. This is a repeat. I'll think about it and write another one at some point. I just want to get this running. Well, that's going to be a pain in the butt. Oh well. Right, because then I would have to pass in the game mode, but I can get it from number of ships minus. But I gotta do that again down here. So the general rule of thumb is if you're repeating code, you should find a better way. Because here's a second time where I have to remove a ship. And here is a third time that I have to remove a ship. So there could be a time when, like, I forget to remove a ship, you know. So making a function for that would be better. But I could just call and handle. Fair point. I mean, I am just writing now, but I'm looking ahead at the pain that I'm going to experience later. I just want to see if it's going to work. But now I have to go back and then check it. This is a space-based game. It's like a mix between a real-time strategy and a turn-based game. It's got some real-time elements to it, but a lot of the actions are turn-based. So I don't know how well those are going to marry together. The more I do this, the more I end up pulling away from the real-time elements because they don't fit the turn-based elements. So I don't know. We'll see. I think I will wrap this in a function. Those are all my U functions. I don't think this needs to go to there, but what should I call this function? An Excel spreadsheet game? Or Excel spreadsheet just in the game? I mean, I guess I could. I don't particularly have a use for one at the moment. I guess I just make a data table. So what is this function doing? This one is sorry, my brain got locked into the process of thinking. And I was like, oh, I did that silly. Hey, Zentrixa. Good morning. Is it morning where you're at? I think earlier it was midnight where you were. It's 9 p.m. over here. So I don't know what I want to call this function. I find that I spend a lot of time naming stuff. Nobody else is reading my code. But I try to be nice to my future self. Oh, fun. Did you get any sleep between then and now? So technically I'm checking the count of the ships that are in space. But the purpose of that is to check if the turn can be updated. Well, good. I had a nap around 4. I think I napped for like an hour. What does this function do? Can't think of a function name. Ugh. I can make up a random one and just name it something. There. That'll move me forward and I'll rename it later. All this thing is doing is checking the ships in space. So really what I could do here is if number of ships in space is less than or equal to 0, then number of ships in space is 0, and then we will update turn. And I'll just have number of ships in space minus minus. And I'll have that be called here. So instead of doing this, I will do this. Terrible name. Terrible name. But look, I have to change this many times. This is why it's better to have a single function to handle this. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Assuming I didn't break anything, that should run. What broke? Alright, so I'm returning a player here, but why was I returning the player? Who is capturing the player once returned? I don't remember why I was returning the player here. Returning the player here makes sense because I'm getting that value and using it. But I don't know why I'm returning a player on here. But the player that I'm going to return is going to be the player GM. Note to my future self. Famous last words, right? I've been writing code since... Oh, jeez. ...2003 or 4. I'm not much better at it now than I was then. So there's nothing at the moment when I end the turn. Nothing at the moment will show whose turn it is, I guess, but let's see what happens. It broke here. Can I continue? No. So that died a horrible death. I actually didn't read the log. I should have read the log, but it's okay. I'm going to throw a breakpoint on here. Ugh, that hits me right in the age, man. I suppose that's true for many of my audience. I wonder why that breaks, though. It is weird because I get to... These days I get to say, back in my day! I can say I have 20 years, you know, that was 20 years ago. That's true. It was 20 years ago. So, in-game, let's see how many players are out there. Player. Game mode, we'll grab the players. Active player list. No AI players. Planet list. Asteroid list. Alright, I'm going to end my turn. I'm going to get a break. Continue. End my turn. Turn to be 1. Active player index. So that gets set. We go here. Let me step out. Can I step over? Okay. It breaks here. Wonder why that is. Hmm. This looks like it is an error in Blueprint. But that... Let's go back to here. I'm going to not possess anything, which is going to be really weird, because if it lets it run and there's no player to control, that's going to be odd. Let me unbreak. Whoops. And then I'm here, none's turn. So it reads none for that. Can I end the turn? Player 2, none's turn. Player 2, none's turn. So it probably is breaking on the Blueprint side, where it tries to get the name of the player. And that's in a list. But why is it okay grabbing none here? Huh. And when I'm in none, am I orbiting? One unknown. Player 0 is watching this. Player 1 is watching that. player 2 is watching that. I'm having a real hard time focusing. My eyes are all blurry. Weird. All right. I'll hit stop here. Alright, so I don't know that it's going to matter on eye is just really blurry. This one is local multiplayer, this one's local single player. But I don't remember why I did it that way. Maybe I made a mistake. Really, this should be an or. It could be single player or multiplayer. But something else I need to check is if that player is where is the player reference? I'll just grab them. I thought I had one over here. Player, get player. Oh, I see. So I'm returning the player from here. That's where the player is being returned to. So then I can do the check on this. What is it? Is that's really annoying. I think it's because it's a bubble within a bubble. No. But you should totally bring me a spirit. Turn text.
Here you go, baby.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And then up here on the timer, use the other charger. Hold on a second. this was an A to C, since you are who you are, you're just going to break me up the charger.
Well, see if it even works. It's even in the charger. I think the charger.
You're going to run through that around.
Oh.
Oh, she's gonna play the VR thing. But she breaks every charger I give her. Every single one. I don't know how she does it. Every charger. And I'm giving her my charger. I should just order 2 more. I should just order 2 more. I don't know how she does it. She just does. Those are expensive. Those, like, 20-foot chargers, they're expensive. Because they have to be high powered for this, for the unit. Ugh. Anyway. Alright, time to test the game. The timer should not be ticking. And really this button, I should have that disappear. I should have it be calculating actions. So I can hide the button and I can hide the timer. It shouldn't be the owned player. And this one, such a mess. This doesn't get refreshed. I have a thing that refreshes the player. I have change controlled player. That goes over here. That gets recast to there. Okay. So I do need to run this. Such a mess of blueprints. I have a lot of things relying on this turn index. But this isn't being checked. I don't know why that's not being checked. Because here... Oh, right, I turned this off. That would be why. I can probably turn this back on since I fixed the naming problem. Hold on. Let's save that, close out of here. I'll turn this back on. Crap. Although this will cause a whole other host of issues, because right now the only way to get out of the calculations for that are if all the ships are gone. And that's not done on update. That's done on whenever the ships get off screen. Anyway, I'll worry about that later. Is that charger working?
Yes. But, well, I got the other charger because I didn't know how to put the was confusing, so I just used mine. And it's working. Not working.
My brain's not working. If it's not the spectator, then I should run this. If it is the spectator, we should see this. But this has been popping up. But that shouldn't be popping up. That should not have been popping up. Well, no, it will. It will pop up because return the correct player. It's just not being possessed. Still firing here and dying. You know why? Why would that fail? Well, there is that. There is no home planet. Let's do this. Ugh. That was your problem. As I say, quite a few functions I have to turn off if it's the spectator. So now I am in spectator mode. Of course, it skips over player 1 coming back, but I'm already at 0, so it's stepping over. So the thing I want to test is if, once the ships leave, if it takes me out. So I will build what needs to be built. So it took me out. Okay. So it does take me out, but it doesn't know who this should be. So I should be back in player 0 or player 1, and these should technically not be there. So inching closer to the goal. Oh, I save while running, which I shouldn't do. Was that the greatest show?
Yeah, an expert. I'm about to fail at expert plus. See what happens. Other than my failure. Hopefully my arms will fall off.
Okay.
I don't want to know, I'm scared. Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, yeah, no, I bet I did fail. Yeah. I believe it.
And I can make this index be whatever.
It's so hot.
What I could do is,
Expert it is.
I don't like putting things in random functions, you know? Like doing things with a purpose. Update action queue does what it does, and it updates that action queue.
Damn it. Can't see. Ah.
Hmm. Oh, if it's not going to go and launch any ships, I could just check to see if... how about this?
Rick insisted on getting an A on expert. I just suck it up for experts. You don't do that. Ridiculous. Yes, I know batteries are able to pop off.
Not the cleanest way of doing it, but allegedly, if there, once the action cube fires, if there are ships in space, then this will go and exit. Although that might be confusing to the player. Mm. They might be better off having that happen all the time, though. That way it's consistent. Being there however long. If there are no ships, it's 5 seconds. If there are ships, then wait. Let's see if that runs. Okay, and then if I do some stuff, Planet 1, Planet 4, so that looks like it exited, but it didn't quite end turn correctly. So that kind of worked. What's this over there? Interesting. I have a cord that's over here, but I'm not sure why it's over here. My guess is a cat got to it. Alright, so I'll try that again, and we'll observe some. I'll send a ship, and then I'll end the turn, and then this player will send a ship. End turn, ships are being handled. Although this is supposed to be in world view. You see the time is not running, so that's a good sign. Huh. But it didn't take me out of the player's thing. Yeah, I'm not going back to player 1. Well, player 1 might be dead, actually. Let's take a look. If player 1's dead, the game should have ended. but I don't really have a win condition set, so players, active player list 0, and this one. Nobody on the inactive list, so I should be able to go back to player 1. But it's not going back to player 1. Alright, I guess I will check number of ships. Number of attacking ships in space is set to 2. But that should have been back to 0. Unless there's a condition where I didn't update that. Turn index is for sure 0. But those ships are still technically being calculated and counted as active. Why? Hey, welcome to the stream. I'm just kind of like looking at this. I think this is where the failure is happening. Now that eye is just bugging me. Okay, so if I hit the planet and it's not my planet, I'm checking. So if if no ships, then take it. So I'm going to go through each type of ship and then add that to the count. Then if the count here is less than or equal to 0, then I take over that ship. Then I take over that planet. But then what happens if there is a ship? Well, nothing at the moment. Hmm. Two semicolons. No errors though. Hmm. Well, if there are ships, I need to determine if they are attacking ships, and then I have to come up with like a... I haven't done this part yet because I haven't decided on how I'm going to have those things interact, you know. Can attacking ships attack each other in transit? Can they attack you? Can a ship that has not deployed any can a planet that has not deployed any ships use those ships as defense? Like, those are rules I just haven't set up. And then, would it be an equal number? If I send out 5 ships and that planet that I'm attacking has 5 ships, do all ships just mutually destroy and then the defender keeps his planet? Or is there a random calculation that figures out which ship won out of a battle? I really hate RNG, so I'm not really in favor of that one, but that's probably the more fair. Because if you have it to where the ships cancel out, then you would just send 1 extra ship, right? So if he has 5 ships, you send 6, because you know 5 are going to cancel, but the one's going to get through, and you're going to gain that planet, right? So, and then really I should be checking if it's attacking ships anyway. So on here, overlap planet ship count. I need to do... Yeah, I don't need to do it through a loop. do some I want to see if it's an attacker. Because this takes in the ship type -1, but there's a difference in count from the enum. I'm not 100% sure if this is going to return the correct type because of my math shenanigans. But really, I don't need to do this either. Maybe I'm getting tired. Or maybe I'm just dumb. But I can just check that here. So if the attacker count is less than or equal to 0, then swap owners and whatever. And the other end of that would be we need to destroy, actually, I'll just overlap planet. I'm gonna get this. It's such a messy way of doing it. Like, it'll work for the moment, but it's just awful. That's such a terrible way of doing it. I don't want to do it that way. And that's so bad. Alright, let's do it. I'm going to do it the way that's gross. I'll do it this way. If it is... No, I can't do it that way. Yeah, I can't do it the way that I was thinking of doing it. I was going to do it assuming that it was a group of ships hitting, but it's one ship that's overlapping, and that ship is overlapping and checking things, so can't do it as a group. So individual ship has to do the check. So we'll say if... I'll leave myself a note for later. So I'll destroy one, and then I need to remove a ship from my current count. Again, I'm not attacking in groups, so I can just do one here. I can run this as an else. So if attackers are greater than 0, then we'll remove an attacker from their list. This attacker will get destroyed and be removed from the game mode list. If no ships, we'll take over planet, and I don't need this one. Let's check. I need to make sure this is going to be reading correctly. Why don't you put the fan on?
Because it's weird. It does help, but not forever. Why are we taking the time?
It's one of the...
I know, but I'm like,
Party rock is in the house tonight. Okay, I'm back. Oh. We'll check to make sure that these are the correct type anyway. Yes. And actually, I'll just keep it. Yeah, that's fine. Make some stuff in my turn, make some stuff in my turn. That needs to happen on the list so I don't have to keep checking. But it's okay. I'll make some ships. In my turn, make some ships. In turn. Okay. So if I'm going to... Did you find it?
I did. It's in the inner scope pack.
Okay. So we got...
And I got my girl.
So Planet 3 has 4. That one has 4. So if I send a ship... I should lose one. Oh, did I not send it? There we go. So that should have returned me number of ships. So I did get my turn back, but it didn't release the thing. Oh, that's weird. Yeah, so that player lost, but should not have. It looks like this is the one that ended up firing. Which means that this count probably came back wrong. I'll rinse and repeat.
Oh, I failed at the very end. Fuckers. I was doing real well, too. It was almost easy.
Okay. Planet 1 is here. Planet 2, 3. So I think I will have to do -1. My eyes are so blurry. Alright, let's try it. Change my turns a few times, you know. I'm on planet 2. So planet 3 has nothing. Planet 4. Okay, planet 1. I'll send 1 attacker. End my turn, end the turn.
You gotta be on hard.
Alright, so we got the correct count this time. You got a B?
Yeah, I'm hard.
Nice. Are you on expert?
No, I'm hard. Expert will be next and we'll do that hard a couple more times. With the beats. We do pretty well, and then, like, the end happens where there's not a whole lot of even beat. We're just randomly.
There's blocks, but there's no...
Well, there's just blocks to be blocks. There's no. It's just put your hand beautifully, and there's no beat to follow, which will make it fun slash, like, not doable. We can still do it, but nice and easy because all tonight. Okay, now we'll fire up.
Now this menu didn't update, but it did reduce 1 ship. Now I don't have any conditions for when the ships are even. Excuse me. So if we're greater than 0 there, otherwise, any other condition if we were equal to. But if we destroyed all the ships, then they should be able to survive that. So. No, I'm thinking in groups again, because it only destroys 1 ship per thing. So if I sent 3, 1 would hit, 2 would hit, 3 would hit, and the third one would take over. But sending that one extra ship would be too easy. Granted, you won't know the other planet's ship count unless you send a spy ship to get that information. So, I guess that's okay. Alright, I'll test it again. See if I can take over. Yo, nice.
Now let's count myself expert.
So I'll send 3 this time. Okay, so they hit. We don't need the break point, so I'll just hit continue. And I did gain it. So that does work. Some things that are not working. When I have ships out, it should put me here. But I should also notify some stuff, so. Kind of working. I could hide the timer and the end turn button, but right now in case that doesn't work, I need to be able to exit it. So why would it not exit? So if I go to yeah, so this should get checked. And then on the last one, yeah, so the first one, if it's greater than 0, this hits, destroy.
I just want to do greater show where everyone thinks I'm smart and funny.
I mean, you can put Greatest Show on as a bedtime movie. Can't listen to Greatest Show as a bedtime movie. You'd be too hyper. Never get to sleep. I'm gonna check this again. I've got a mild headache from my eyes being out of focus. Planet 3, so Planet 2. So I'll send these and I'll get 3 checks. There we go. So we got to here, right? So this should be the final one. The first one should have hit and did this already. So the count here should now be 0. So we'll go over, over. Let's go in. Number of ships in space would be 1. That would be correct. By the time we get this check happening, it should be 0. Yes. So turn index should now be 0. That's funny. Turn index is now 0. Let's go into end turn. I think so.
Thank you for bringing that fan.
You're welcome.
Oh, there you go. I slept much less.
So yeah, I don't want to be ending the turn of 0. Although technically if that was firing, it should put me on player 2. But it wasn't putting me on player 2. Yeah, so we'll come out. That evaluation sent me here. Did I miss something? Like, why would that evaluation send me here? They should evaluate the true. Right, because the number of players should be 2 in this case. Well, actually, no, I take that back. It would not be, because the, you okay over there? Because in this particular case, I only have 2 players in the game, and if I took over the other planet, that player's dead. So I only got 1 player in the game, so it's player minus 1, so it would be equal to 0. So that's going to send me back here. That's why. So let's do this. We'll continue. And I'll do it with 3 players. And I'll only destroy 1 player. Because I don't have a condition to handle... I don't have a win condition set up. So I'm getting a weird result. So I'll put 3 players in. And... player 1 and 2 will get some ships. And I'll send ships. I'm on planet 4. Alright, planet 3. I'll send ships to planet 3. On my turn, in turn, in turn. Calculating stuff. That all is probably happening according to plan. But it did not... Yeah, end turn just didn't fire. Player 1, player 3. Player 1, player 3. When end turn fires. What happens? You know, this wouldn't... I really can't have this here because it's only supposed to happen if it's in local multiplayer. Sometimes I think I got it, sometimes I don't. I don't know. I'm getting tired, so I'm not being very productive. So I'm going to just go to bed, I think, and then I'll come back tomorrow. I've got someone who was saying vertical bar a lot, but I don't know what that means. I'm not sure what this is. It didn't show up on my list of stuff. So anyway.